In August 1986, an astronomer at the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory was asked to fix a minor bug in the accounting software. The mainframe had logged exactly 9 seconds of processor time that nobody had paid for. The total discrepancy was 75 cents. Most system administrators would have written it off as a rounding error. Instead, he dug into the logs. What he found was an unpatched vulnerability in a text editor, a compromised root account, and a lateral movement path that led directly into the United States military's secure network. That 75-cent error was the first breadcrumb in a digital footprint that would eventually expose a massive KGB spy ring. Welcome to the crash site. Today, we are looking at the birth of digital forensics and the cuckoo's egg that nearly cracked the military grid.
To understand how deep this breach went, you have to understand the computing environment of 1986. Our protagonist is Clifford Stoll, a hippie astronomer who had recently transitioned into a role as a systems administrator at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. At the time, computing power was an incredibly finite and expensive resource. The lab charged its scientists roughly $300 an hour to use the mainframe. Because of this, the accounting software had to be completely flawless. Every cycle of the processor was tracked and billed. When Stoll noticed an unauthorized user account named Sventek that had accumulated 9 seconds of unpaid time, he realized someone had bypassed the billing system entirely. Someone was inside the network.
But how did they get in? Stoll analyzed the logs and realized the attacker hadn't brute forced a firewall. They had exploited a logic flaw in a basic piece of software almost everyone used, the GNU Emacs text editor. The hacker utilized a textbook privilege escalation attack. He didn't break down the front door, he tricked the system into handing him the master keys. Here is exactly how he did it. 1. The vulnerable tool. The Emacs text editor included a utility called MoveMail, designed to move messages between user inboxes. To function across all accounts, MoveMail was installed with temporary superuser, root permissions. 2. The malicious payload. The hacker wrote a short malicious script. Instead of asking MoveMail to move an email, he commanded the utility to move his script. 3. Overwriting system tasks. It bypassed normal security restrictions. The hacker used it to drop his script directly into the system's automated task scheduler, explicitly overwriting a file called @run. 4. The Cuckoo hatches. The UNIX architecture was programmed to automatically execute the @run file every 5 minutes to handle background tasks. The moment the clock ticked over, the system blindly executed the hacker's script with full administrative privileges. He now had root access. Stoll later called this the cuckoo's egg. A hacker laying a malicious program inside a trusted system folder, waiting for the system itself to hatch it. Once the hacker had root access, he simply downloaded the encrypted password files and ran a dictionary attack, cracking passwords like guest and admin. The hacker wasn't just hanging out at Berkeley. LBNL's mainframes were connected to ARPANET and MILNET, the precursors to the modern internet, heavily utilized by the US military. The hacker was using Berkeley as a trusted jump point to launch lateral attacks against 400 military computers, searching for classified files containing words like nuclear and SDI, the Strategic Defense Initiative. Stoll needed to monitor the attacker, but installing digital tracking software on a compromised machine was too risky. The hacker, who had root access, would easily spot it. So Stoll went analog. He borrowed 50 heavy, loud teleprinters and physically wired them into the 50 incoming modem lines at the lab. He essentially created a physical, hard-copy packet sniffer out of 1980s hardware. Whenever the hacker logged in, Stoll's printers would wake up and furiously print out every single keystroke the hacker made in real time. Stoll was literally watching the espionage unfold on reams of continuous feed paper. Tracing the hacker was a nightmare. The connection was being routed through TimeNet, an early packet switch network, bouncing off satellites. The trace took time, and if the hacker noticed he was being watched, he would drop the connection immediately. Stoll needed the hacker to stay online longer. He needed a trap. He created an elaborate honeypot. Stoll generated thousands of pages of fake, highly classified-sounding documents regarding the Strategic Defense Initiative and stored them in a newly created directory. The hacker took the bait. He initiated a massive download of the fake files. The transfer took over an hour, giving West German authorities exactly enough time to trace the satellite signal down to a physical apartment in Hanover, Germany. The hacker was a man named Marcus Hess. He wasn't a joyrider. He was part of a coordinated cyber espionage ring, stealing US military intelligence, source code, and semiconductor research, and selling it to the Soviet KGB for $54,000. Marcus Hess was eventually arrested and convicted of espionage. Clifford Stoll wrote a legendary book about the chase called The Cuckoo's Egg, effectively writing the first manual on digital forensics. The technology we use today is entirely different from the mainframes of 1986, but the attack vectors haven't changed at all. Modern state-sponsored hackers still look for an unpatched vulnerability in a low-level service. They escalate privileges, they move laterally across trusted network nodes, and they still rely on human error. This has been the SegFault Ledger. If you want to trace the execution paths of more digital disasters, catastrophic software bugs, and the forgotten architecture of the internet, hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments what system failure we should look at next. Until then, mind your code.